Hey there folks, and welcome back to Skullmonkeys. Today, the Elevated Structure of Terror. The Elevated Structure of Terror introduces a brand new mechanic, which is the shrinking and growing arrows that make Clayman big or small. They do slow him down as well and make his jump slower, as you'd expect. It's very similar to the mechanic in Bandland of Rayman, I believe. I'm not sure if it shows up in other levels, but that's the main one you see it in. I'm not sure if that's a ripoff, but then again, it's not that hard to think up a shrinking growing mechanic. So, we have a couple new enemies there, Barking Birds and the El Barfos. And we already have a level split. So the Barking Birds aren't really a hassle unless you're small, in which case they will kill you, but then you can jump on them. When you're big, they die at Clayman's touch. Also, we picked up a Universe Enema. Which destroys everything on the screen. They are very useful and will kill just about everything. It's pretty great. You can also get that life by getting big and coming back, but easier just to use that enema of the universe there. So those are El Barfos. They kind of remind me of that episode of Xavier where he flips himself inside out by making a snake throw up. But what they do is they just move in a single direction, and when they throw up, it makes them jump. So it's pretty much like jumping the gorilla, the other enemy that we've seen here also, but with a horizontal movement to it. They are not very smart, and they will often jump off of ledges. They have no other real AI to them other than to barf and move forward. And here I attempt to summon a fart clone, because this is a tricky jump because of an El Barf over there. One thing I don't like about this level... Oh, see? Good thing I used my fart clone. One thing I don't like about this level is the fact that Clayman does move differently when he's big and small, and it's kind of hard to get used to it when you have to switch back and forth of how far your jumps will go and things like that. Also, when you're used to being able to jump on these birds, sometimes when I have a big Clayman, I will think that I can hop on them and jump off. Instead, you'll just fall straight through. This is a really tough section here, because the birds kind of cycle around, and you really need to control your jumps, and it's kind of hard to control the height of your jumps in this game. And there goes my halo. But we're big again, and we have our very first secret here, right up top. Another Universe Enema. And I kind of wuss out and don't jump down there because I'm kind of worried that I was going to hit a hole. The El Barfos are pretty great for getting a lot of air also off your jumps if you hit them at the height of their jump. And I do like the clouds in the background, but they look a little off. They don't really look that great. Although, kind of fits the art style. So, instead of going to the red one, we can go into the gray ball as well. And it may seem like you have a choice here of either shrinking or not, but really the only choice is, do you want to run through this area 2 times or 1 time? When you reach the end of this place, there's a hole that only small Clayman can enter. So basically, if you're big Clayman, the only thing you get is a couple of goodies at the end, and the ability to kill all these guys, so that you don't have to deal with them as small Clayman. Also, the jump isn't really doable as big Clayman, but you can always just switch to the fart clone, have it grab it, and die for you. I've actually found a lot more uses for the fart clone than I have in the past, so that's pretty cool. And there we go, you miss out on a halo and a Universe Enema because you have to be big to be there, but not really worth wasting all that time for. And up here is just a little area to get like 3 more clay balls and a bird. Not a big deal. And here we get our second secret, another Slappy the Hamster, which is kind of useless. And those are anti-butt bounce monkeys. I believe they're called triple laser monkeys. You might notice that when I kill one of them, they have little glowy sprites that come off of them, and those will kill you. Those will pass right through the hamsters or anything, and will either kill you or take away a halo piece. So the the idea is not to jump on them to begin with, is just to leave them alive, because they don't really do much other than jump up. They have the same AI as jumping the gorilla, pretty much. But that is literally it for Elevated Structure of Terror. It's a fairly short level, and we have the bonus stage here.
Here's a little bonus room, 'cause I know you've had it.
Bonus stage also utilizes the mechanic of the shrinking and growing.
Bonus room about collecting real cool stuff.
But that's about it. They introduce a bunch of enemies, and we really won't be seeing them for quite some time. This game likes to do that. It just introduces an enemy for one level, and then you never really see them again. Sometimes in the much later, they come back.
Your friend, think of me as a father figure with a hand to lend. Here's a little bonus room where you...
And that is it for the bonus level. Yep, got all the secrets, bunch of lives. Let's continue on. And welcome to the Yint Death Garden. Now these Yint levels might seem very out of place, as there are no Skullmonkeys here, and these weird bug guys instead. In fact, if you don't read the Neverhood archives, you would never know what the hell is going on here in the first place. And you'd think that they just decided to tack in a brand new enemy for the hell of it. And which might still be true. These are Glidey Bird levels, but to understand what the Yints are all about, we have to go into a little bit of Neverhood history. So according to the archives, one of the 7 creators, or sons of the father, Homan, created the Yints on his planet, whatever that is. And he also had a son who could create stuff, and he created some more Yints. So there were blue Yints created by Homan, and there were white Yints created by his son. And apparently the blue Yints were very industrious and built a bunch of stuff, and the white Yints were pretty lazy. And they got into a huge war, and a bunch of Yints killed a bunch more Yints. And that's pretty much all there is to it there. It's not until the next creator guy, son of the father, Arvin, who then goes and creates a whole bunch of weird shit, including Yints and Skullmonkeys and Yint Skullmonkey hybrids, and on the planet Idznak, what I believe the monkey planet is called, the Skull Monkey planet is called, he decides to stick some blue Yints for the hell of it. So that's why we have Yint areas here. And on other planets, apparently there's Skull Monkey Yint hybrids and a bunch of weird stuff. But that's about it. Arvin decided to either move in some Yints or just create some Yints of his own to exist on the Skull Monkey planet. So we have two enemies here. We have the blue Yints, which are the ones that walk and kind of scratch themselves. And we have the flying Yint Centurions, which are very annoying, as they are nothing but floating mines, basically. Touching them will instantly either kill Clayman or take away his halo. But they are not immune to weapons and stuff, as you saw me use a whole bunch of stuff on them. And these levels are centered around using the Glidey Bird. So the problem here is a lot of the level is leaps of faith. A lot of the level requires precision movement, precision vertical and horizontal movement via the Glidey Bird. And you just don't get that with this game. Also, these steam vents are really weird with their physics. They're really kind of hard to get into. They kind of push Clayman out, and once you are in them, they shoot you straight up real fast. And considering there's puzzles and just, you know, deterrents built around the fact that there's vents and being able to float up, kind of makes this whole area really, really difficult. You can't really judge hitboxes all too well. You're not always too sure when Clayman's going to get hit or not. Here I use a fart clone to try to get that life and hopefully just die, but I get really lucky. One thing I'm going to show off here is if you fly under a maw bird, you will get pulled up on top. So they're actually very useful if you want to get something but you're falling too low. There are not too many places where that actually happens, so don't use it too much. But in the places where it does occur, it's a lifesaver. But anyway, this game relies a lot on precision, and the fact that you can't judge hitboxes makes it very difficult to make a lot of these jumps. Especially in one go. You might notice that there are a lot of maw birds scattered around these levels. Because they expect you to screw up and die and come back and at the maw bird. In fact, in a couple of places there's literally like one obstacle and between two maw birds. So yeah, the game really expects these levels to be done with you dying a lot. But giving these all in one go means I kind of have to cheese a lot of the stuff and shoot out some of the Yints that I feel are too tough to take on, or places where I've died a lot and just was tired of doing this whole thing over and over again. But as you can see here, they have added Yints floating around those vents, and that makes things really tricky. Also, there are some cases where the game expects you to drop down with the Glidey Bird, and it's never quite deterministic of how far Clayman would fall between button presses. So, like over here, you just kind of have to get lucky to some degree. And there we go, another maw bird pulled me up. You kind of have to get lucky with your gliding and with your button presses, because sometimes Clayman will just fall like a rock and not even register the button press to reopen his parachute Glidey Bird thingy. Also, these levels are very sparse in anything to look at. It's just platforms. Oh, I mean, a lot of levels are just platforms, but still, nothing in the foreground, bunch of weird backgrounds with berries and crap, but they're so samey, there's no variation between these levels, that when I was editing this video, I could not figure out where like 2 of the levels went, because I just erased them by accident, because they all look just so much the same and start off so similarly. As you can see, I've run out of patience with dealing with a lot of these Yints and start wasting a lot of bullets. But here we come up to our very first secret, which just means glide down here. It's another leap of faith, as is just about every other jump in this level. So about this point, I think this is the 4th level or so, out of 5, that they really start making the jumps really difficult. They stop giving you as many halos too. Halos here are a godsend, by the way, because you can take a hit while flying through and not really have to worry about just dying in that place, or hitting a Yint or a hitbox issue or something like that. And the fact that they start limiting you with those makes this whole area just harder to deal with. Also, near the end of this level, you really want to hold on to a halo, or get a halo at the start of the next one, because there's a part where I literally cannot do it without taking a hit. It's ridiculous. All of these are meant to be, I believe, walked under, but I really don't want to deal with that, so I'm just shooting willy-nilly here and just taking out as many of these guys as I can to make my life easier. Yep, I hit that guy. Good thing there's another halo coming up pretty soon. And secret number 2 is right here. This one's kind of devious, because usually you go in front of those blossoms. I'm not sure what those are. Kind of look like prickly pears or something. Either way, you can usually they're in the background and Clayman walks in front of them, but that one specifically Clayman goes in front of, and so it's a little bit of a trick on the developer's part. More precision jumping. But we are reaching the home stretch here. We're just about done with part 4 of these levels, and we're going to get into part 5 here any second now. The music is pretty rocking though, and one thing that you might notice, or have noticed, is that the music kind of gets longer and longer as you go along. The songs, they kind of make the loop longer and longer with the original song. The original song obviously is a couple minutes long, and in the original levels they maybe only do like 30 seconds or something, but as it goes they add more and more to it, so the songs go longer, you hear little vocals, it gets a little more epic, I guess, if that's the right word for it. It gets a little more upbeat, so it's pretty cool. And here we are, part 5, which is probably the hardest part. That jump right there is ridiculously hard to make. You kind of have to jump into it and then just hope that your gliding gets you to the end. If it doesn't, you are in a Walking Dead or Gliding Dead situation, where Clayman is going to die any second now, but you can just watch him spaz around back and forth until he falls off the edge of the screen and dies. They also make a horrible buzzing sound. I'm not sure what's more annoying, the skittering, buzzing noises of the Yint Centurions, or the monkey howling noises that you get with the Skullmonkey guys. And hey, why not introduce clocks as well to make these jumps even harder? Yeah, that's a good idea. Yep, they expect you to not waste any time. This is a good place to waste a halo. But this is the only one you're going to get in this level, I believe. So I still would recommend holding on to it until a little bit further on, as there's a part where you have to get a swirly cue, and it is really tough because it involves these stupid air vents. Look at me trying to just pass through that guy, barely making it. But here we go, this is where the real hard part begins. There's the swirly cue and a vent and more bugs everywhere. This is where I always lose a life or get hit, so holding on to this halo over here is very useful. Just go up, hit that guy up top, and then glide to safety, because you're just about at the end here, and there's no point in taking any risks. And that's it. That is it. But that last jump will kill you so many times. And here's the bonus room for this level. It's just as annoying as the level itself. This is one of my least favorite levels in the game, by the way, so just not a lot of fun. Also, one thing that's very jarring is that when you switch levels, you lose your glidey bird, and you keep wanting to press the glide button to make Clayman glide across, and it's, doesn't happen, and Clayman just falls into a hole somewhere. So getting used to having bird or no bird between level transitions is pretty tricky too. Or I guess if you somehow lost your bird in the level, but then again it gives you free birds at every mob bird checkpoint station, so that's not too big of a deal. But it does make jumping feel a lot worse because you had this whole safety net of the glidey bird to glide you along. But that is it. 2 out of 2 secrets, 7 out of 17 worlds. I will see you folks next time.